Hello, everyone. First, thank you for the introduction. My name is Yehia. The title is ERC 7726 and ERC 3643. They are two new standards. I will share them with you. First, I work for Nethermind as a blockchain engineer. I started my career on building NFT marketplaces, then tokenizing gaming asset, then doing some launchpad for tokenized asset too, and NFT renting. Most of my career is on the tokenization, and now I am working on Libre Capital, where we manage hedge funds, manage tokenized hedge fund mainly. Today, I will share with you my two favorite standards that hopefully, if you follow them, you will be able to tokenize everything on Earth. It is, of course, challenging. We have some small challenges. The challenges are not too much technical. Of course, we have some technical challenges, but this kind of product have already been developed on Web 2 and on other types of products. But the main issue we have, or let's say main challenge, is on following regulations. When you follow regulation, it will be good, because if it doesn't follow regulation, it will not work. But following all rules and doing exactly like what the books say may cause some issues, like bringing bureaucracy to our blockchain. So for example, the normal transaction, it can execute instantly, but now after following the rules, it takes 2 working days or 2 business days to finish it, which is sad, but we need a way to get around it. And it's already had been fixed on Web 2 on a simple way that we start small. We start with a small product, then keep having a different release. On each release, we have a lot of back and forth with lawyers, with compliance auditor, to find each small feature by feature until we find the way, which is good on software industry and normal Web 2. But unfortunately, on Web 3, we will need to do upgrade contracts. And if we have Solidity, anyone here work in Solidity? Okay, nice. Like, usually, if someone doesn't know Solidity, it offers deployments, but it is the hardest thing we have. And as a smart contract dev, I am scared of it. I don't want to do it a lot of time because it kills the storage. And with multiple deployments, you may make your smart contract not working. That's why we do our best to avoid this. The best approach we have is to modularizing this, like all compliance and rule stuff should be on a separate module, and we make sure that this part will not be upgraded, or if it will be changed, it should happen smoothly without any issue. To do so, first thing we need to do is to follow ERC standard. Why ERC standards help us on this? It's for a simple reason. First thing is for auditing. Having ERCs makes the audit easy, and the audit is not only security audit. We have other type of audits that I didn't know about them before working, like compliance audit and accounting. They are like enough to stop any release or cause a lot of issues. So it is important to have them standardized, and that's what offer us ERC standards or any standard by Ethereum, that once it passes one time, everyone can use it. And it offers some interoperability. So for example, everyone now know how things work or knows the standards, which will help you to create, for example, dev tools or some other frameworks and products that create ecosystem around any product you have, like ERC20, for example. We started by it, then we have deployer services, then we have analysis tools for it. All of this happened because we have a standardized interface for it, and that's the main idea. And it helps product owners and product designers to have a standard user experience, or a user experience that they can follow, and when following it, they will be on the safe side, or at least they have some experience to work on it. So let's jump to the standard. First one is ERC 7726. This standard is for oracles. It's still on the draft state, but I recommend everyone to check it and to contribute on it. It's still like looking for contributors. The cool thing about this standard is that it's flexible. You can have permissionless oracle, and you can integrate it with other providers, and you can have a lot of like flexibility on designing it, which will not bother you. On the same time, it has some restrictions on important stuff like data handling and data fetching, which I will have separate slides explaining it later. The main idea we have, or the main thing we want to achieve, that it look like REST API if someone is familiar with it. Like, it's nice to follow. If you didn't follow them, it will not kill you, but that's a bad practice. So having such standardized practices will be a good start to have everything more secure and more easy for us to follow after. And the other standard is ERC 3643, known as Tarek before. This standard is exactly an ERC20 token, a normal ERC20. What it do, it has some extra feature. First interesting feature is it have integration with any identity. So when I deploy this standard, I register a smart contract that will work as an identity provider. For example, I can have a simple whitelist. I have a smart contract with address 123. If you are not one of these addresses, you can't use my protocol. Or you can integrate it with some KYC providers, like on-chain ID, for example. So only KYC wallet can use your provider, your protocol. And the other thing it provides is compliance service. So if we check, I'm not sure if it is clear, I guess it is. Can I point here or how to?
Yeah, you can point.
Okay, great, thank you, Sam. So if you have a sender and he is trying to initiate a transfer, it interacts with the smart contract. The smart contract check a compliance smart contract. The compliance smart contract do two things. First, fetch the identity and fetch any rule you will set on this one, like whitelist or whatever. So it fetch identity, check all rules, and then returns the data. If the data is correct, if you follow all conditions, then it will be perfect. Now the transaction will pass. It is same interface as ERC20, but it have one extra feature that you can have some rules. And like, let's say it is a permissioned ERC20. Some people were not so happy about it because we are on a decentralized world. Why you want to introduce such stuff? But it would be important in some cases, like this one. So assume we have a real estate project and we want to tokenize it. You can have your shares. Your shares are tokenized and anyone can buy it. So the first issue is when you develop such product, you have some requirement, but issues happen when conditions change. So for example, yes, we told you all people can use this application, but this guy that you onboarded, this one, we will not accept him. We accept everyone on earth except your users. How this may happen? So for example, I have some real estates. This real estate accept people from US. If you have a US citizenship or you are living in US, you can buy this estate. If you are not, you can't buy it. So we will we will allow only people from US, as the rule said. But it appears that that's not the only rule. For example, if this real estate is for example, a large state or like some palace or whatever, you are not allowed as an individual to buy it. You should be an institution or any type of investor. So how it works? It starts by user action, like the user will do whatever he tried to do. Then a group of conditions will met. For example, QIC, citizenship or jurisdiction, whatever, then limit of position of investment, whatever. But before doing any design, you should have all these conditions grouped together with all combination, which will create a rules at the end. This rule you should follow, or like if it shouldn't, transaction shouldn't pass if you didn't met it. So if we return it again to the other slide, when doing any transfer, you need a side, like user will do action that will cause a transfer. You check all conditions with this action that form a rule. This rule may pass or no, depending on the user type and a lot of things related to the user. So how this work on real life, or how to use this standard at the end? Assume we have a flow on real world and a flow on Web3. So on real world, if you want to invest in a stock market, or you want to do anything that like related to real assets, you need to have a QIC. On Web3, we don't have a QIC, like we don't have this procedure, but we have a function called set on chain ID. What set on chain ID do? It accepts a smart contract address. This smart contract address should handle all roles and all stuff related to the identity provider. It is flexible. You can change it, update it each time, depending on your product and in your case. And it's designed to be easy to change. Same for the set compliance function. So after we have all identity stuff and AML, we need to talk about compliance and regulatory rules. This stuff, like usually they are stable, but they may change, and you need to be able to handle them on a flexible way. That's why we have a setter for them. So you have a smart contract. Some people call it a rules engine because it managed a lot of different rules, like you put rules on it. So you set your compliance smart contract address, and you can change it each time without doing any upgrade. Just update the address, like throw away the old smart contract and add a new one, so you don't have the hassle of upgrades. Then the last and the most important step is add agent. The compliance smart contract should have some agents. Agents on real life are people with licenses. For example, the previous slide, the example of real estate, you can't sell any real estate if you are not a broker. If you don't have the brokerage license, you are not allowed to sell any. So what we should do, we should have a way to onboard people with licenses on Web3. So we are able to do the bridge between real-world assets and the blockchain. So what add agent do? Add agent add people with some flexible roles, and they are able to do more actions. For example, they can bind token and unbind token. So I have the broker will sell some assets, and if something goes wrong, because he have more privileges, he got it from like law, like it is not the product who granted it, but that's how the regulatory stuff work. So we allow it, and we give people some higher role because they have some licenses, and this will help us to onboard people from real world to the blockchain. So to wrap up, you have identity, then you have the rules, and you have people who can manage these rules as you should have on real world. The one and last challenge is how to copy all this stuff, like how to bridge between Web3 and Web2. To do so, we need to talk about the other standard. I mentioned it briefly at the beginning, ERC 7726. It provides an Oracle adapter. So usually when you deal with oracles, and if anyone here is working in security or like auditing, usually all my friends who work on smart contract audit love oracles, like love to attack oracles. It's where all bug and all vulnerabilities exist. So the idea to have it as standard, as an easier way to implement, to use it. And it have an interesting function called quote off function. This is a query. This query deal with token by amount, not by value. So if I have, for example, a USDC or one ETH, I deal it by its amount. I don't check the oracle to see its price, then check it later. I care mainly about the amount of tokens. And this is important in a lot of cases on tokenizing any asset. We made the assumption that, for example, one USDC equal one USD. We hope the stablecoin equal exactly one fiat, but that's not true. It may equal 0.995. For us individuals, it may not be a big deal, but if we have some assets with 1 million USDC and you treat it as USD, you will end up with 0.5% disappear, which may be actually the fees of the whole protocol, and may end you in in a serious problem if any accounting happen or some large percentage like this is missing. So what we have on cutoff, we have a way to interact as one-to-one. Like I care about amount and I standardize the decimals. A lot of attacks happen on decimals if someone on security. But the main idea is to have things by amount, not by value. Of course, this may be uncool if you are using other product, like doing any liquidity swapping or whatever other stuff, but that's not the use case of them. Like we have this use case mainly to have shares, to deal with shares. For example, on this case, I have a user. He have RWA token, has the amount, and want to translate it with USDC. So what we have, we send the request. The adapter will query the value of the RWA. This component may be off-chain, like the price fees may be Chainlink or whatever. And then we have the price of the USDC. We get the prices. Then we do normalize, let's say normalize the amount, have a standardized way to handle decimals and check it by amounts to make sure that we will not have any decimals issues. Then we will return the actual amount for us. So just to have a quick wrap up, what we have, we start by setting the identity of the user. Then for each product, we set the needed rules. Then we onboard the people with needed licenses to make sure they are existing and they are managing any edge case that may happen. Then the last step is to have a stable bridge between real world and blockchain. And if anything change, we have such a flexible structure to change our identity provider or change the compliance. And that's all.
Well, wonderful. Sorry, I was still amazed by it and waiting for it. So yes, questions, please. And please don't be shy, the rest. We have time for questions now, so use it.
Hello, thank you for the presentation. My question is about these two standards. Do you think we can already today say that it is the standard to develop real-world assets?
May you make the mic more closer, sorry?
Yeah. Do you think these two standards are, we can say today, the standard for doing real-world assets?
Can you use them today?
Yes.
Okay. For the the compliance one, yes, it is ready to use. It's already published and on ready state to use. But the first one, the 7726, let me show you. It is still on draft state. The proposal have been accepted, but it's still on draft. You can't use it yet.
So, is it future-proof?
Let's say this, it is, but it is soon, it is accepted as a proposal. So now we need to contribute to it, and if we had some time, all protocol were first proposed, then accepted, proposed on draft, and now on development phase. So we can contribute to it. It exists on GitHub, and on draft state, anyone can contribute.
I have a question over there. There's a gentleman with the quite interesting hat.
You okay?
Ouch.
And while we are waiting, I forgot to mention actually our full-fledged engineer from Nethermind. I'm very sorry.
No
I
problem.
actually,
No problem at all.
I mentioned it now.
It's quite a
So
dangerous
please.
way of passing this around. How do you keep this stuff liquid? Because this is like a mainnet proposal, right? Like, so if you have, like, if you gate it on the ERC level, how do you, like, it doesn't integrate into the, like, the larger DeFi, right? Because you can't sort of have, like, if you gate it at the ERC level, you need to have, like, that inherently leads to, like, liquidity fragmentation. Like any, like, whether you gate it on chain level or ERC level, in terms of, like, having those checks in place, like how do you keep this stuff liquid, right? Like how do you, like, what's...
Okay, we'll tell you. So first thing, let's assume we have some conditions. First one related to the like identity. So I check the identity, then check for, let's say, the position. So on the compliance smart contract, let me go to it. I'm not sure. So this compliance smart contract is developed by me. I am the one who will write the code for it. So what I will, and I already have, like, no, I am aware of the identity registry, and these two smart contracts see each other. So if, for example, it's identity, it's simple. I will just fetch the identity and fetch the details if it is nationality or whatever, or jurisdiction. While if it is other thing, like, let's say, balance position. So I have a check for the balance, or I have a query that say, okay, I will check the USDC amount of this wallet. The USDC amount says that this investor, for example, less than 100K, he is a small investor, more he's an advisor than a professional. So like it's like developing logics on the compliance smart contract, and depending on it, it will be a lot of view functions. View function for the first rule, that identities and whatever I want to add, I keep adding them, and all of them will be executed when the transfer happen. Did I reply to your question, or it's...
Sorry, like, let me rephrase this.
Okay.
So like, if you gate like essentially you only allow qualified participants to, like, hold this asset, right? They have to go through the checks, which means you, like, this inherently, like, limits the, like, LPs that can hold, like, the LP tokens for such a pair. This limits the like pools, like this kind of fragmented to a separate liquidity pool. So like you need to have the whole infra, let's say DEXs, lending markets, for all of the stuff that exists today for these assets. So you need to have like a whole ecosystem that is specifically targeting those gated assets that doesn't integrate with the wider DeFi. That's my question.
Exactly.
Very fast answer, please.
Sorry, okay. It's exactly as you said, because such product usually are private equity market. So it's not for everyone, like not all assets for everyone. So yeah, that's the case. It is not, like shouldn't be integrated on Uniswap. You can't have buy your house on Uniswap because it doesn't have regulation yet, or because the guy who will do the swap is not a licensed or not a KYC wallet. So yes, it is for such a specific private equity. And one last thing, sorry, and this like create another market, because usually private market or private equity like have a lot of ROI, like give you a high ROI, but it is hard to liquidate. So one of the main feature of RWA is to offer a market, a transparent market, to sell such products.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, in any case, we see connect with Nethermind, connect with our great speaker here, and then we are getting ready for the next stage. And thank you again very much. And another